Celebrate Independence Day with your hometown professional soccer club. Phoenix Rising takes on Lexington SC on Friday, July 4th at 7:30 p.m. in a special military appreciation match. A night to honor those who serve and turn up the heat on the pitch. Fans will receive limited edition of Phoenix Rising sunglasses at the gate. And don't miss the debut of the club's Americana merchandise line, including a patriotic training top. Plus, enjoy $1 beers all match long, perfect for a summer night under the lights. Tickets start at just $15. Grab yours now at phxrisingfc.com.
Hey, it's Austin Clark, owner of Moxie Pest Control. You know, most pest control companies use the same products we do. That's not the difference. But what is the difference is how we treat people. At Moxie, kindness counts, and it shows in every visit, every conversation, and every one of the 6,500 plus 5-star Google reviews our customers have written. Our field experts aren't just trained to handle pests. They're trained to treat your home, your family, your pets, and your time with the kind of respect you deserve. And our services come with a pest-free guarantee. Our methods and service just work better because our people are better. So if you want a pest control company you can trust in and around your home, give us a call. We offer same-day services in most cases, and we'll even give you 50% off your first service when you call. Call 888-MOXIE-10. That's 888-MOXIE-10. Moxie Pest Control, the highest and most reviewed pest control company in Arizona.
Welcome to Disneyland.
Get excited to join the Disneyland Resort 70th celebration. Because it's not a celebration without you. With all the decor, the new character outfits, and dazzling shows. Everyone's excited to join. Delight in special 70th experiences, like an all-new World of Color show, the returning favorite Paint the Night Parade, and so much more, only for a limited time. So come join us for this once-in-a-lifetime celebration with a special ticket offer as low as $100 per day with a special 4-day, 1-park-per-day ticket. Total price $400. Valid May 16 through August 14, 2025. Park ticket and reservation required. Visit Disneyland.com/70 ticket offer for details. Offering subject to capacity restrictions and change without notice.
At the UPS Store, we ensure your small biz stands out with a variety of high-quality paper stock options, banners, posters, brochures, and more. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today and get your print on.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
A bounce-back win last night, but again, causes for concern. The Tuesday edition of the lunch break right here on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you for the next 2 hours. Producer Evan behind the glass taking your phone calls. 480-864-1060 is the phone number. Your way to get in touch with us throughout the course of the program, or you can join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream and watch the show and interact with us over there. The NBA free agency period has opened up. The Suns somewhat involved. We'll touch on that. But we start today's program talking about the baseball team who bounced back, picking up a win last night against the Giants.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
A Diamondbacks team that needed that win last night got themselves back to 500, 42-42 now. A solid performance, a great performance from Ryne Nelson. I'm sure we'll touch on that. But it is all the other stuff that caught my eye in that game last night. And I think we start with the bullpen once again. Are we classifying that as a meltdown? Can one pitch be a meltdown? By rule, is that allowed to be the case?
That's the question of what are we classifying as a meltdown?
We have always said if you give up the lead, that is a meltdown. But one pitch feels a little unfair to the Diamondbacks bullpen and to the meltdown meter to classify that as meltdown, but that is exactly what happened. And that is why I want to start with that. Because while, yes, they won last night, while, yes, they got back to 500, and while, yes, maybe you are not in the place that we put ourselves yesterday here on this show, you're not ready to give up. 84 games into the season, you are not ready until you see this team sell at the deadline, until you see July 31st come and go. You are going to hold on to hope that this team can stay in the wild card race, can stay in a position to where Mike Hazen would buy instead of sell. You are not giving up. I applaud you for still feeling that way. But games like last night are why I can't join you, why I can't be on that side of the fence with you, because they win the baseball game last night. And yet you don't feel good today about that win. Because once again, the Diamondbacks bullpen, and last night it was Juan Murillo, playing a central role in the result, almost costing them the game. Ryne Nelson cruising, pitching into the seventh inning, giving this team 6 2/3. You turn to the bullpen, and one pitch changes the dynamic of the entire game. How many times do I have to say, no lead is safe? No lead is safe with this bullpen. No amount of runs. Doesn't matter how many outs the team needs to get. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9. Doesn't matter. Nothing is safe when it comes to this bullpen. And that is why yesterday we said, after getting swept by the Miami Marlins, sitting a game below 500, that we were done with this team. That this team needed to transition, pivot into being sellers now that the calendar has flipped to July. So no, last night's result does not change things for me. You're going to have a lot more wins and show me a lot more stability in the bullpen before I'm willing. I've been sitting on the fence for the last couple of weeks. Yesterday, and I wasn't going out on a limb yesterday. It wasn't a hot take of ours to say this team should sell, but we firmly put ourselves in one camp or another, and I am not allowing one result last night to completely change how I feel. I am not going to climb back over to the other side of the fence. I'm not going to climb back and sit on the fence. Again, you're going to have to do a lot more. This bullpen is going to have to, because last night the bullpen did it again. You win the game 4-2, great. Shelby Miller, 4-out save, fantastic. Suarez, Perdomo, the heroes late, giving you the 2 runs to push you back in front. Awesome. Great. Those are all great things. I still don't trust this bullpen to hold the lead. And they're going to have to hold on to a lot of leads to get back into the mix, to chase down the Brewers, to chase down the Reds, to chase down the Padres, the Giants, the Mets. You name whatever team you want in the NL wildcard race. They're going to have to hold down a lot of leads. And last night, while it didn't end in disaster, you saw the same script play out that has played out all year long. So be happy that your baseball team won last night. Be happy that they rallied. Be happy that they didn't allow one pitch to ruin their night. But don't take one win against the Giants and think all of a sudden the fortunes of this team have changed. Things are turning a corner. There's going to have to be a way larger sample size for me to believe again. And that sample size is going to have to show a bullpen that can hold on. Because last night, it didn't. Last night, it almost was the reason that we added another game to the meltdown and we furthered dug the ditch of this team's season being over. You cannot continue to have games like last night where you get excellent starting pitching. You get the length. How many times have we talked on this program about this rotation not giving length, asking this bullpen to do too much, and with a bullpen that, let's face it, is the furthest thing from consistent, it is a hard thing to do night in and night out and expect positive results. Last night, you got the length. Last night, Ryne Nelson gave you 6 2/3. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that kind of had an eyebrow raised when Torrey went out there to get Ryne Nelson to turn to the bullpen. Why are you turning to your bullpen? Why are you turning to a group that can't get that many outs? They can't get 7 outs. You can't trust them to get 7 outs right now. They proved it again last night. 7 outs, way too many for this bullpen to get. Vittori was in a tough spot last night. He's got a pitcher who started the year as a reliever, started the year as a long man, hasn't developed the reservoir, the gas tank to be able to throw 95, 100 pitches in a start. Has to really kind of manage things right now until Ryne Nelson brings that workload back up to speed. And so he had to make that decision. He got a game into the 7th with the starter. He felt like, if I can't go to my bullpen now, then there's no time I'm going to be able to go to my bullpen throughout the course of a game, throughout the course of a season. And sure enough, last night in the 7th inning, today's modern baseball, you consider it a win if your starter gives you 6 innings. You consider it a bonus every out he gets you past that point. Ryne Nelson did that for you last night, and it still almost wasn't good enough. Can you see why yesterday we said this team was done? This team needed to be sellers? While, yes, they got the result they needed last night, there are too many other bad signs that reared their ugly head last night. And I apologize to all of you, because I've gone nearly 12 minutes into the first segment of the program, and we haven't actually talked about the lead story from last night's game. We have not talked about a fan that interfered with a ball, and not just any normal regular fan that interfered with the ball, but apparently a fan, and shout out and credit to John Boy Media for finding this footage. They're the best at this kind of stuff. Not only has this fan done this before, he has done it each of the last 4 seasons. You have a fan in the ballpark that each of the last 4 seasons.
And then they found a 5th.
And then they found a 5th. So he did it twice last year where he's interfered with a play, forcing the umpires to go to review. And this person is still let into the ballpark. And I don't normally do this. I try to play nice in the sandbox, but I'll do it today. You then have another radio show here in town that brings this fan on their airwaves today to promote, I guess, this person. We should not be promoting this person. We should not be giving this person a platform. This person should not be allowed in a ballpark. This person has shown that they are not able to uphold their end of the fan code of conduct. This is the second time in 2 weeks we've talked about fans not upholding the fan code of conduct. This fan is a habitual offender of the fan code of conduct.
If it's once, okay,
heat of the moment, foul ball, fly balls coming your way, foul balls coming your way. You want to make a play, you want to get a souvenir. Yes, one time I could understand it. I can give you a mulligan. I am not giving you a mulligan when it's like the 5th time you've done it, and you've done it each of the last 4 seasons, and not just have done it, but have done it in a way where they've needed to review the plays that you are involved in.
And then he's posting on Instagram, home run or not home run. Well, dude, don't reach over the fence and we would know.
Sounds like somebody who doesn't think he's doing anything wrong, because and I think now it's 2025. Social media sometimes lies. Sometimes people make things up. I believe I saw a post from this person who said he has only been ejected 3 times. Now, if that is true, if what I saw was accurate, he has been ejected 3 times, and the Diamondbacks nor Major League Baseball have done anything to make sure that this person is either 1, not allowed in the ballpark, or 2, not allowed to sit anywhere in the vicinity of where they could interfere with the game. Because now you're interfering with the game. You're not just a fan going for a foul ball. He almost fell onto the field last night trying to make the play.
Last night, his leg was sprawled across the top of the wall. Like his full body, he was Superman posed going to get the ball.
John over on YouTube said he didn't reach over the fence until after he caught the ball. John, we are not defending this. We are not defending this action, especially when you don't get the benefit of the doubt when I've watched you do it 4 other times. And those 4 other times, you've interfered with the play.
I want to say my first. If you're over 12, don't bring a glove.
You said it, I didn't. But you can't get involved like that. Come on. You have to know better, but clearly this person doesn't, because they are making a big deal out of it.
Hypothetical on what I just said. Okay. So next year, the home run derby is at Citizens Bank Park. That's one thing I want to go to.
The home run derby.
The home run derby, trying to get tickets in the outfield. Already started my search, see if I know anybody. Am I allowed to bring a glove to the home run derby? That feels more acceptable.
You want to bring a glove to the home run derby?
Only if you sit in the outfield.
Like on the actual
field? I don't know
field?
if I will or not. but that feels more acceptable to bring a glove to than a game.
Listen, you should do whatever you want, whatever's going to make you enjoyable. The one thing you can't do is what this fan did last night, and what this fan apparently has done for the last 5 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, you're making it about yourself. And then in the videos that I saw, he's flexing afterwards. He's throwing the ball back on the field. Like, dude, get over yourself.
In all seriousness, though, throwing a ball back is my dream from an away team. Like, if the Dodgers come in and I catch a Freddie Freeman home run, I'm chucking it.
You're dreaming of the scene in Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
Where he throws the ball all the way from center field back to home plate.
Exactly.
Your call up to the big leagues.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
You never know. What if I really get into it?
But just obnoxious fan behavior last night. What are we doing? Have some decorum. Have a little decorum and not make it about you and not interfere. Especially because if you're in the moment and you're this guy, you clearly know, we didn't know at the time, we know now, that this is not the first time this person has been involved. So maybe, just maybe, in the moment you go, oh, I shouldn't get involved here, because you almost cost your team in a big way. You almost cost your team that apparently you're a fan of by doing this. We have a saying in this office. We have a saying in this building. One of the other program directors of the other station, he and I talk baseball almost every day, and I have a quote that I say to him. The reason why I love baseball so much is every day you see something that you have never seen before. This sport has been going on forever. Every day you see something you have never seen before. Last night continues that trend. Last night continues that proof that every day you see something that you have never seen before. Name me the last time that you have seen a fan interfere and then find out afterwards that the fan has interfered in 5 straight seasons.
That's a first.
Right. Again, baseball is a sport.
All, by the way, in the exact same spot.
Every ball that we saw hit in the video we watched this morning hit to the exact same spot. Insane. Absolutely insane. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. Now, remember, John is a Giants fan, so he probably feels some type of way about the fan interfering on a ball that could have been a home run, although it wasn't really a home run. So it's a little biased.
You forget that John's a Giants fan. That went over my head.
Yeah, a little bias from John, and I think he would admit that. But
yeah,
just a tough look last night for that fan. And
it seems like New York really hung up on the idea of a home run yesterday.
So I don't know if you saw, but he said he's hanging up on your stand. So you guys are already, it's 11-17. You guys are already lobbing jokes back at each other. So it was just gearing up to be a great day. Just gearing up to be a fantastic day here on the program. When we come back, NBA free agency, it has opened, and the Phoenix Suns have been relatively quiet. We'll talk about that next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Breaking Benjamin. Stay forever. And 3 Days Grace. Live. October 8th at Desert Diamond Arena with special guest Return to Dust. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Don't miss Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace, presented by the Big Red Radio.
It starts with a simple order, a cold Dos Equis dressed with salt and lime. But for the salt clinging to the bottle and the lime perched on top, this is the luckiest of unions. As if the universe has swiped right, pairing flavors together with a crisp Dos Equis. This is refreshment designed by fate, blessed by destiny, and served by bartenders. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
At Nationwide Vision, we make the back-to-school season crystal clear for you and your kids. With convenient scheduling and personalized treatment plans for the whole family, we keep things simple and stress-free, so your kids can face the day with confidence. Because vision shapes learning, and learning shapes life. Get 50% off a complete pair, and give your family the clarity to thrive in every part of their journey. Schedule an appointment today to find your focus at Nationwide Vision.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. Nick Caserio is joining us.
I'm sorry for sliding into Geoff and Lincoln's interview slot here. I mean, except for Brazil. If I had a beef, like what's my beef? My beef would be with Brazil. So you're playing the opening game of the NFL season, and somebody had a question, they could go right to DJ on it. Why don't you see if you can reach out to my wife, Stucknut, and see if she'll let you in. I have no social media game whatsoever, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask about anybody's social media.
Not yet.
You're pushing me on that. We'll see if maybe the crew can help me on that. So I know that's why Lauren and the boys came over, so maybe they can. I'll pay them a consulting fee for that.
You just name check Lauren, no less, man. Nick Caserio is freaking everywhere.
But I would just say again, the dark horse in all of this is Iafrate, and you've said it yourself. When he calls, I mean, the earth shatters. I love the show. I love everything you're about. I appreciate the relationship.
I'm Jim Rome.
You need parts? O'Reilly has parts. Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Upgrade to Brake Best Select pads for just $10. Or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or Import Direct pads for just $20. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Attention retirement savers. A top U.S. bank predicts a 2025 recession as tariffs rattle markets. According to reports, 2025 recession risk just increased significantly. That's why thousands of hardworking Americans are turning to award-winning precious metals company, Goldco. Goldco is offering you a free 2025 gold and silver kit. Plus, you can get an unlimited instant match and bonus silver for qualified accounts. Call 855-969-GOLD. Find out how you can help diversify your savings. Tax and penalty-free today. That's 855-969-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Welcome back into the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you. We'll dive back into the Diamondbacks about 10 minutes from now. Touch on the great start from Ryne Nelson last night and what it means for his future. But a quick sidestep from us. We'll get into some of the basketball. The NBA free agency window opened up yesterday, and it has been a frenzy of moves. I think the latest big move that I saw that had everybody spinning was the Milwaukee Bucks deciding to waive and stretch Damian Lillard over the next 5 seasons. And they made that move because they are signing Miles Turner to a 4-year contract. I believe it was $107 million for Miles Turner. And that sent some shockwaves throughout the NBA circles, especially in Indiana, in Milwaukee. All eyes are on Giannis to see how he feels about that and what that means. So a lot of stuff going on in the NBA, and overall, a relatively quiet start to free agency for the Phoenix Suns. Now, that's not surprising because I don't know if anybody knows this, but the Phoenix Suns are a second apron tax team. So they don't really have a lot of options. I don't know if we need a breaking news sounder for that.
They're above the second apron?
They are above the second apron.
Really?
Yeah, so they don't have any of the taxpayer exemptions or the mid-level exemptions, or they can't aggregate salaries. Just a lot of stuff. And I didn't
that
know,
must be new.
Right. It's a new thing. Last couple years, Phoenix on second apron team this year. So because of that, and again, make sure everyone's up on the same page here. Everyone knows that the Phoenix Suns are a second apron team. Limitations on what they're able to do in free agency. And so all of our eyes have been focused on what trades they could make to get out of this, right? Bradley Beal, the big name that everybody is keeping an eye on. We're going to touch on that again today. But Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen, other contracts that the team could move that got them under that second apron and opens up some avenues for them. But they did something yesterday. They signed, he's playing overseas, power forward. They signed Nigel Hayes Davis to a deal. Now, if many of you out there don't know who Nigel Hayes Davis is, I don't blame you for not knowing who Nigel Hayes Davis is. And I'm not sure I know a whole lot about Nigel Hayes Davis to share with you right now. But what I can share with you is that this is a power forward. After a draft in which the Phoenix Suns prioritized getting a center in the draft, a center via a draft night trade, and then drafting another forward with their first pick in the second round after they moved a bunch of their pieces around. So while I don't know a whole lot about Nigel Hayes Davis, producer Evan made this point on yesterday's program. I can see a plan here, and that plan is very clear. That plan is very obvious. The Phoenix Suns understand, Brian Gregory understands, we lacked size last year. We lacked physicality last year. That was one of the things that held us back as a team. Dare I say it? I hate to use this word, but we were a soft basketball team last year. We didn't have that grit, that toughness, that physicality, that extra level of intensity. And so we are, as a franchise here, me speaking as Brian Gregory, we're going to put a massive emphasis on fixing that issue. And that's exactly what this team is doing right now. They made 2 trades. They made 2 moves on draft night. They drafted a center. They traded for a big man. They traded for 2 guys that are physical, that are tough, that are going to bring that size, that are going to be able to protect the rim. Phoenix Suns didn't have that last year. How many times did we come in here after a game and talk about how the Suns made it easy for other teams to get to the basket, how the Suns made it easy for other teams to score because there wasn't a true threat at the rim? And while, yes, getting Nick Richards helped that a little bit, it didn't help it a lot of it. It was still a major problem. It's not going to be a major problem anymore. There is an emphasis on fixing that because I would argue Devin Booker, really talented player. Jalen Green, talented young player. Ryan Dunn, talented young player. They've got some pieces for the scoring, the creativity on this team. Those guys weren't providing the physicality. Maybe Ryan Dunn was to a certain extent. Those guys weren't bringing the intensity, the toughness. Dylan Brooks is going to bring that toughness. And so now you start to paint this puzzle. You push this together. And I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I look at all these moves and I look at the emphasis on toughness and I see the emphasis on building from the center position out and prioritizing Dylan Brooks in the Kevin Durant trade and then drafting a forward, now signing Hayes Davis and then the 2 centers. And I'm starting to see this roster come together and I see a little bit of a crunch coming. Because I don't know what Royce O'Neal's role is going to be on this team. I don't know what Grayson Allen's role is going to be on this team. And those are 2 of their tickets potentially out of their second apron. Again, reminder, the Phoenix Suns are a second apron basketball team. Out of their second apron mess. So while I don't know a lot about Nigel Hayes Davis, I like that it is a continued piece of this plan. And we are seeing this plan. We can see the plan. It is obvious what the Suns are trying to do, and they are executing on that plan. I will continue to say, none of us know if it's going to work. None of us know if these are the right players, the right pieces, the right fit. We won't know that until the season starts and we see these players on the floor. But I think I can speak for everybody on this. I think I can speak for Suns fans on this and say at the end of the season, we felt like that team had run its course and that team was missing that grittiness, that toughness, that in the fourth quarter, in tough moments, this team most of the time just kind of whittled away. And so they needed to, and they said this in their postseason media availability. Ishbia did, Gregory did in his introductory press conference. Jordan Ott kind of hinted at it when he got introduced to the media. This was what their plan was going to be. We are going to have a gritty, tough basketball team. We got a lot of youth, a lot of athleticism. So we're more athletic, we're tougher, we're grittier. We've got the right veterans in here like a Dylan Brooks. We've got a young player like Jalen Green who maybe in a change of scenery taps into some of that untapped potential. And you start to see a group come together. I am way more optimistic than I was a couple of weeks ago. I still have my fair share of criticisms. I still think this team needs a point guard. I still think this team needs to do whatever it takes to get under the second apron. They still have issues. They are still a team that even if they did all of the things I wanted them to do, are still a ways away from everybody else in the Western Conference. But for the first time in a couple of years, you can see a vision, and you can see a vision that you believe in. I don't know how many of us believed that all this team needed was Tyus Jones and a new coach last year. I don't know how many of us really, truly thought that that was the missing stuff, that that was the missing ingredient. I think we tried to be optimistic. I think we tried to be like, yeah, new coach, offensive-minded, because their offense wasn't very good last year. They were too defensive-minded. They gave too many games away because they didn't have a veteran point guard. I think we twisted ourselves into a pretzel to try to see what they saw. I don't have to twist myself into a pretzel right now to see what this team is doing and to agree with what this team is doing and to think that this is a good first step. Now they've got to develop these young players. This is another test for Brian Gregory and the Suns organization that identified Nigel Hayes-Davis as a player of size, a power forward that they feel is good for their rotation, was an MVP overseas. They feel like he's a good fit and is going to help accomplish what they want to do. I hope they're right, because this team needs wins like that, because they're not able to do what everybody else is doing in free agency right now, at least not until they get under those aprons, until they get back the tools in the toolbox. So they have to have moves like this, and they need to hit on moves like this, because then they look really smart and they look like an organization that is able to make do with less. And then you start to get excited about what happens when they do have the tools, when Brian Gregory does have the resources. He does have those exemptions. He can aggregate salaries in a trade. He does have all of the things that you are supposed to have when building a basketball team. If you can hit on moves like this, if you can hit on your draft picks, you start to see the vision come together. So it's quiet so far for the Phoenix Suns. It's supposed to be. It is not going to really take shape for the Suns this offseason until they figure out what they're doing with Bradley Beal. That is the big elephant in the room. That is the big thing that is stopping them from being able to get involved in free agency.
But so far, I like the vision. You said it. We got a path. And if it's getting rid of Bradley Beal next, then I feel like, okay, once they get rid of that, I know what path they're going to be headed down. And so far, I'm excited about the vision. I'm excited that they told me we were going to watch different basketball. It feels like we're going to watch different basketball.
Right. They gave us a message that the team you're going to see is going to be different. I believe them. I believe them in the moves that they made, that is going to be the case, that it is going to be different. I don't know if it's going to mean more wins. I don't know if it's going to mean more success. I think it's going to be more entertaining. I know it's going to look different because they are going out and getting different players. So from that perspective, they have done their job so far. And so now we keep an eye on what this team is able or not able to do with Bradley Beal. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream as well. When we come back, it was Ryne Nelson Day on the mound last night, and boy, did he make a case to be a part of this team's plans in 2026 and beyond. That's next on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Prepare for the Maximum Fun Tour. A day to remember. Yellow Card. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, Saturday, October 25th. Special guests, The Wonder Years and Dinosaur Pileup. Tickets from $30. On sale now at livenation.com. A day to remember. Yellow Card. Part of the American First Credit Union Concert Series.
How about we get some pizza?
Nah.
Sushi?
No.
I thought you didn't care.
I don't.
Slow cooked.
Tender. Juicy. How did they get in our car?
I don't know, but we're going to Del.
Del Taco's new slow-cooked pork carnitas. Authentic spices and salsa roja give it a rich, deep, melt-in-your-mouth flavor. Pork carnitas are here for a limited time, so get some tender, juicy Del Taco today.
Del, yeah. I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I was in a wreck. I need a check.
I'm Kevin Rowe from Lerner & Rowe, and we've been serving Arizonans for 20 years. Make the best choice after an accident. Call 977-1900. That's 977-1900.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900. 977-1900.
Geico knows there's a home you and a road you. Right now you're hearing home you. He's not in an RV. He's at home, watching the great outdoors on TV.
For the lone gazelle, there sadly is no escape.
Meanwhile, road you always has an escape in an RV covered with Geico's added 24/7 emergency roadside service, so he can explore more of the great outdoors in real life, except maybe the ravine where the gazelle got stuck. Road you should avoid that. For more road you time, get more with Geico.
To everyone who believes a good meal can always be made even better, come try our new chicken sandwiches at Culver's.
We've taken our classic chicken sandwich and brought it to the next level. I'm talking bigger, juicier chicken with crispier, crunchier breading. And it's all served on a buttery brioche bun and topped with crisp dill pickles, creamy mayo, and fresh lettuce and tomato. Even better, you can make any sandwich your own with a few extra toppings. Throw on some real Wisconsin cheddar cheese, add thick cut bacon, or both. We'll make it fresh just for you, just the way you like it. Whether you go for crispy, spicy crispy, or grilled chicken, you're sure to enjoy your first bite and every bite after that. So are you ready to try our tasty take on a tried and true classic? We've got a table waiting with your name on it. From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh, my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Buy or sell coming up in about 10 minutes from now. Producer Evan will have 5 or 6 takes for me to buy or sell. So we'll close up hour number 1 of the program. But it was Ryne Nelson on the bump last night for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he delivered exactly the start that this team needed. 6 2/3, only allowing the 2 earned runs. Did not walk anybody, 7 strikeouts. Boo Birds came out last night when Torey Lovullo went out there to get Ryne Nelson there in that 7th inning before he was allowed to finish. And I think it was Boo Birds because they were enjoying the performance from Ryne Nelson. It was Boo Birds because everybody is tired of seeing this bullpen constantly give up leads. which is exactly what they did 1 pitch later. But those bluebirds came out because you enjoyed watching Ryne Nelson pitch last night. You enjoyed him going 6 2/3 with those 7 strikeouts and having that fastball with that life on it and being able to put together a quality start, an excellent start against a team like the Giants. And it has been the story of this season for Ryne Nelson. He has been a fantastic starter when given the opportunity. I don't usually like to do this because I don't want to bore you with numbers, but I think it is an important exercise. These are the stat lines for the games that Ryne Nelson has started this season. We all remember the 4 1/3, 2 runs allowed that he gave up against the Mets when he filled in for Corbin Burns. He then made 2 spot starts filling in for Eduardo Rodriguez, went 5 innings, allowed 1 run against the Dodgers in LA, was dominant in that one, striking out 2, only allowing the 1 run, just pitching to contact, only 1 walk. He then against Pittsburgh, 6 2/3 scoreless, no walks in that one, 4 strikeouts. Then he had that stinker against Cincinnati, only went 3 innings, allowed 7 runs. Since then, this is what the last 4 starts have been for Ryne Nelson. 5 innings, 1 run, no earned runs allowed against San Diego. 5 2/3, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts against Toronto in Toronto. 5 innings, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks against the White Sox. And last night, 6 2/3, the 2 earned runs allowed, 7 strikeouts, no walks. In his last 4 starts, he's allowed 4 earned runs. This is the Ryne Nelson that we saw in the second half of last year. This is the Ryne Nelson that we saw, or we thought, was going to be able to help withstand some of the injuries that this rotation had faced. This is also a Ryne Nelson that this team can build around. I have warned you of what is coming for this franchise this offseason. A world where they only have 2 starters in their rotation for next season. Brendan Pfaadt and Eduardo Rodriguez, the guys that are under contract. Well, let's also talk about Ryne Nelson in that conversation. Let's now not forget about what he has done in the second half of last year and into this year. A guy who isn't a free agent until 2029, meaning this team has him under team control for the next 3 seasons. He's arbitration eligible for the next 3 seasons. He's only making $825,000. I have told you that this team is going to need 3 starters next offseason. Guess what? You've got one of them in-house. You have one of them under team control for the next 3 seasons. You have one of them that isn't going to cost a lot of money, even if he gets a raise in arbitration. It's going to be less than $5 million, going to be less than $3 million for Ryne Nelson. It's not going to get that big of a jump in arbitration. You're going to have a cost-controlled pitcher under contract, under team control for the next 3 seasons at the time when you absolutely need to have players like that in your rotation, because you're paying Eduardo Rodriguez for another 2 years. You gave Brendan Pfaadt the long-term contract that's going to kick in next season and bump up his salary to $3.4 million. It would be nice to have another starter like that you believe in, that you're confident in, that isn't making a whole lot of money. And I would not be surprised if after the second half that he had last year and the way that he is going this year, pitching to a sub-4 ERA, I think his ERA for the year is 3.61. The way that he is pitching since being put into this rotation, if there isn't a conversation similar to the one that the Diamondbacks had with Brendan Pfaadt this offseason or this spring, next spring, between the team and Ryne Nelson to get him under team control for the next couple of years. That's what this organization needs to do. This payroll is going to come down. Your way of staying relevant, even though that money, even though that payroll is coming down, guys like Ryne Nelson. He has been everything this team has needed this season. He has been everything this team is going to need starting in 2026 when they're down 3 starters. You've got one of your 3. His name is Ryne Nelson. You saw it again last night. He's done it against the Dodgers in a big spot. He's dominated teams that you're supposed to dominate, like the Pirates. And last night against a good Giants team, he kept you in it. And those 2 earned runs, not really on him. So we didn't talk about this at the top of the show, But Ryne Nelson deserved his own segment here on the program because he is proving that for a team that doesn't have to penny pinch, but has to really make sure every dollar is spent wisely in 2026, Ryne Nelson helps this team and helps Mike Hazen field a competitive team in 2026. Helps them keep this window open while you have Marte, while you have Corbin Carroll, while you have Perdomo in their primes. You need a good, solid rotation. Ryne Nelson is showing that he deserves to be one of the 5 guys that is a part of that rotation next season. It's 4 starts in a row, 2 runs or fewer. You take out the clunker against Cincinnati. He's been great all season long. And I'll give you one mulligan throughout the course of a season.
You always get one.
You get one.
Even the best pitchers get one day.
You get one.
You always get one. But I don't know how you don't look at Ryne Nelson and say he's not in the rotation, in a stable of the rotation in 2026. I mean, they're at a point where you could lose 3 of the guys you came in with, and you look at Ryne Nelson, and to me, he's a guy I'm really confident in right now. Every time he touches the hill.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Corbin Burns out next year. Zach Allen and Merrill Kelly, free agents. Of the players that are healthy and on the roster for next season, is Ryne Nelson the best pitcher the Diamondbacks have right now?
It's not a question. Let me ask you this. Ryne Nelson, Eduardo Rodriguez, Brandon Pfaadt.
Ryne Nelson.
There it is. There's the answer.
I don't even think it's a debate. I think it's Ryne Nelson. Now,
gosh, if that's the staff next year, it's weak.
This is why I said this team needs 3 starters. And so if Ryne Nelson can emerge and be something that's a number 2 or a number 3 starter, you've now got something. You've got something that doesn't cost you a whole lot. And if Brendan Pfaadt makes some offseason adjustments and gets back to being the pitcher that we've seen him be, okay, I can start to see those guys slotting in 2 and 3, and I can feel pretty good about this rotation. I don't think you're going to have a frontline starter because I don't think you're going to spend money on a frontline starter.
Just because you did, and
now he's hurt. So I think you're going to have, at best, some number 2s, probably a bunch of number 3s or 4s, and you're going to hope that that's enough paired with a better bullpen next season. But take out the game against Cincinnati. And I know you can't do this, but you take out the game against Cincinnati. You remove it. You remove the 7 runs that he allowed. He hasn't allowed more than 2 runs in a start this season. That's ace-type stuff. That's frontline starter-type stuff. And he's given you length. I see 2 starts in here where he's taken the ball into the 7th inning. His last 4 starts, 5 innings, 5 2/3, 5 innings, 6 2/3. He's taken the ball into the 6th twice, into the 7th one time in his last 4 starts. Ryne Nelson is emerging as an answer for this team in 2026 for a piece of their puzzle that needs a lot of answers. So, tip of the cap to Ryne Nelson last night. Thought he did an excellent job. The 7 strikeouts, some unfair luck goes his way there in the 7th when Murillo comes in, throws 1 pitch, and allows the 2 runs to score. But he has been excellent. His last 4 starts, 2 runs or fewer in all 4 of them. He's just been awesome. And he continues to be a bright spot when he takes the mound every 5th day. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. You can also listen on the KDUS AM 1060 app for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Diamondbacks against the Royals Friday, July 4th at Chase Field. Get your tickets at dbacks.com/SGT. Celebrate the red, white, and blue at Chase Field. Don't miss a fireworks spectacular following the July 3rd and July 4th games presented by Bar S. We've got your chance to win 4 tickets for listening on the KDUS AM 1060 app or streaming on KDUS1060.com. Just make sure you're registered and logged in while you are listening. It is buy or sell to close up hour number 1 of the program. We'll do it when we get back. It's the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Hey listeners, it's Vince DeLisio with the Varsity Sports Show. Just wanted to give you a heads up that we won't be on this Saturday, but join us for a special Independence Day video podcast set to air this Friday, July 4th. I'll be coming to you from the Carefree Veterans Memorial in Carefree, Arizona, along with Town of Carefree Mayor John Crane. Look for stories from veterans that our summer broadcast team will bring you from all over the country. It's the Varsity Sports Show Independence Day special coming on Friday to YouTube, and tell Alexa, play Varsity Sports Show podcast.
Stevie Nicks.
One special night, October 7th, PHX Arena. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com.
Don't miss Stevie Nicks.
Live at PHX Arena.
Celebrate summer festivities and savings during the 4th of July event at Living Spaces. Get unbelievable deals and lounge comfortably with sofas starting at $295. Rest easy with queen beds starting at $150. Elevate meals with dining sets starting at $295. You'll even find outdoor sets starting at $395. Plus, pay no interest for 24 months on select purchases with your good credit and enjoy free shipping as soon as next day. Let the firework fun begin during the 4th of July event only at Living Spaces.
Living Spaces. Pool season is coming in hot. Before you make a splash, assign a water watcher to help keep kids safe. A water watcher is a capable adult who knows how to swim and perform CPR in case of emergency. Make sure they put away any distractions and actively monitor everyone in the group while around water. After everyone is done swimming, water watchers should scan the bottom of the pool and close and lock the pool gate behind them. Ready for more water safety tips? Visit srp.net/pool.
Your neighborhood Fry's Pharmacy is happy to welcome back Express Scripts Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense plan members. It's easy to transfer prescriptions at frysfood.com/payer update. See your Fry's Pharmacy for details.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince DeLisio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince DeLisio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Back to wrap up hour number one of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you. Hope you're all having a great Tuesday, almost afternoon. It's only 11:52, producer Evan. I can't say good afternoon to everybody. It's not afternoon yet.
Yeah, I mean, literally 7 minutes and 20 seconds.
But literally, it's not afternoon. It is before noon right now.
Can you say good afternoon at 12 on the dot?
Here's what I'll do. When we come back to open up hour number 2 of the program, I will say good afternoon to everybody. How about that? I can keep that promise.
I think that's the perfect plan.
Perfect. And that's exactly what we will do. Right now, we will do buy or sell 5-6 topics today.
We have 5 topics today.
I am buying or selling. I did a lot of buying yesterday.
Bought everything.
There was a lot of buying that occurred.
Not a single sell yesterday.
Was not whatever price you were offering, I wasn't looking for a deal. I was just buying it off the shelf.
So we are 6-0 this week on buy. You bought all 6, by the way. There was 6 yesterday.
I bought all 6 yesterday.
Yep.
Now here I am. I don't want that to influence.
I wouldn't let it influence.
Okay.
Corbin Carroll will return to the field before the end of July.
There is this movement that is occurring, and Corbin Carroll is spearheading this movement for him to return because he wants to play in the All-Star game, because he's probably going to get an invite to the All-Star game. He didn't make phase 2, but I would assume if healthy, he would be a commissioner pick to get into the All-Star game, and so he would want to represent the Diamondbacks and play. He's had a great first half of the season. Boy, that feels rushed, though. And I wouldn't rush it. So wait, okay. Read it one more time.
Corbin Carroll will return to the field before the end of July. So I'm giving you the next couple weeks.
And you've also said will return, not should return. So I have to buy this because I think he will return. Torey Lovello's talking about it. Corbin Carroll's mentioned it. And I don't think they would put that out there if they didn't think it was a realistic timeline. Teams are very, keep stuff close to the vest. They don't want to get people excited. And so the fact that they are at least openly talking about the idea that he returns sooner than later tells me that it's a possibility. So I'll buy.
The fan who keeps interfering should be banned from Chase Field.
Buy. Come on. That was a freebie. 8 in a row now. You buy a ticket to anything. Sporting event. I'm going to a concert show later today. Anything.
What are you going to see?
There's a festival, the Summer of Loud Festival.
Nice.
That's going on at the Talking Stick Amphitheater. I've got some buddies we're going later. You agree to a set of rules. You agree to not be an idiot. You agree to not be a moron.
It's a mutual code of conduct.
Right. And if you show up and you're an idiot or a moron and you act stupid, they will politely or sometimes not politely ask you to leave, or they'll help you leave. Those are the rules. That's how it works. You show up to the ballpark and you act the way this fan continues to act. You should no longer be allowed at a ballpark. You are now interfering with, I don't want to use this word, it's too strong, but it's the only word I can think of. You are messing with the integrity of the game. You are actually potentially interfering with the result of a baseball game. I'm sorry. There's the door. We've got some nice parting gifts for you, including you never being allowed in the stadium again. Bye.
The Suns will be considered a defensive-minded basketball team next year.
The Suns will be Jordan Knott's not a defensive-minded coach, right? Comes with a more offensive spin to his background. But boy, do they lean into size, athleticism. They want to play fast. They want grittiness. They want toughness. I don't know if that means they're just going to be suffocating defensively and every possession is going to be just a battle and a war. I don't know if that's what they're going to be. I'll sell this one. They're going to want to play with pace. They still have Devin Booker. Jalen Green is a scorer. Dylan Brooks is a 3-and-D type player. They're going to be able to score. They're not going to have to be the Virginia Cavaliers in college basketball that they play every game 52-48. That's not what the Phoenix Suns are going to be.
It's fun watching Virginia play.
The opposite. What is the opposite of fun? Because that's what watching Virginia basketball is.
You don't like defensive-minded basketball. You're going to hate the new iteration of the Suns.
I like grittiness and toughness and playing good defense. Listen, any defense is more defense than we saw from this team last year. So they're going to be more defensive in that regard. But I just don't think they're going to be like Oklahoma City Thunder, a defensive-minded team, right? Chet Holmgren, it suffocates guys. I don't think the Suns are going to be that.
Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. will run past his over on receiving yards, set at 925.5 yards.
So he had about 800 last year, right? A little over 800. Now he's got the line set at 925, you said?
925.
I would take the over. I think he's a 1,000-yard receiver this year, so I will buy this. I think he's a 1,000-yard receiver. I think he has to be a 1,000-yard receiver. I think he will be a 1,000-yard receiver. This team didn't add a veteran wide receiver. This team ran back, and we're going to touch on this a little bit now in number 2 of the program. They ran back this entire offense because they believe in continuity and this entire group being under the same umbrella, speaking the same language, in the same system, taking that next step together, and that growth being enough for them to go from being a middle-of-the-road offense to being one of the top offenses. It's a bold bet, but they're betting on players like Marvin Harrison Jr. Bye.
And you can get 925.5 at -115. Good value in that. This has been one of the crazier off seasons in the NFL in recent memory.
Just had a major blockbuster yesterday. You had Darren Waller come out of retirement today, get traded to the Dolphins.
I mean, the last 2 days have been insane, but outside of that too, I mean, multiple quarterback changes, Seattle with a crazy, weird off season. Couple teams that I just think have had some strange off seasons that I haven't seen like that in a while.
Yeah, there's been a lot. This is normally the quiet time for the NFL. So having the blockbuster yesterday, the retirement news today, we're keeping an eye on TJ Watt. Trey Hendrickson is still just kind of floating out there. A lot of stuff happening in the NFL, and it's just the NFL continues to run the sports world. They just do. And even in what's supposed to be their quiet period, they're excellent. So I will buy that as well. I believe that is another clean sweep. That is 11 in a row.
No, actually, you did sell. The Suns will be considered a defensive-minded basketball team. So you are 10-1 on the week.
Hour number 1 of the program in the books. Hour number 2 next. KDUS, AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. T&Cs apply.
Jaw-dropping stunts, high-flying tricks, heart-pounding excitement. Nitro Circus is back. The all-new off-the-rails tour. Gravity-defying thrill seekers and world-class daredevils at the top of their game. FMX, BMX, skate, scooter, and everything in between. Experience all new competitions that pit the best against the best in never-been-done showdowns. Nitro Circus. Friday, December 5th. Desert Diamond Arena. Join the action at Ticketmaster.com.
Get more summer for your dollar with 4 slams for under $10 each at Denny's, like the new Red, White, and Berry Everyday Value Slam. It's summer on a plate with blueberry stuffed pancakes topped with strawberries, and for under $10. Valid at participating locations. Limited time offer. Additional restrictions and surcharges may apply at some locations.
Celebrate the red, white, and beautiful during the July 4th sale at Scandinavian Designs Furniture. Take up to 50% off an assortment of styles for your whole home. Shop early for the best deals. Stop by our Phoenix or Glendale showrooms today, or shop online at ScandinavianDesigns.com.
Hey, Tempe, your new Sam's Club is opening soon.
I love the savings that Sam's Club has to offer.
It makes it easy to feed a family of 5.
That gas pump there is amazing. The scan and go option just sets Sam's Club apart.
Today's the day to join the club. Your club, Sam's Club.
What we love about our ability to help patients at QC Kinetics is seeing their pure delight at finally being able to do the things they enjoy without pain.
I had a patient start treatment with me. He wanted to be able to be active again and do some of his sports that he really enjoyed.
Dr. Ashley Caravelli, a medical director for QC Kinetics, treats patients with chronic joint pain using their body's own biologics. The goal? Get them back to living their best lives without surgery or harmful drugs.
He came back and he goes, what I wasn't expecting was the ability to play on the floor with my grandchildren. Even just saying it now, I have goosebumps because it's changing those small moments that you take for granted.
Don't let joint pain rob you of those moments. See if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
It just warms my heart to be able to help people live the life they want to live and get those small moments back.
Call QC Kinetics 602-691-6641. That's 602-691-6641. 602-691-6641.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Hour number 2 of the lunch break. You're on KDUS AM 1060. A good afternoon to you all. This is now 12:03 here on a Tuesday. Now there was a movement in the YouTube live stream during Buy or Sell. There was a movement that occurred, I believe was spearheaded by Brian. I'll read his comment just to make sure we get this on the record. He says, what do we need to do to add a third hour? Do we need to have a chat with the program director? Now, producer Evan had the best response to this when he saw the comment, because in my ear, he said, do they know that they talk to the program director every day? And I said, no, because we've not talked about this. It's not part of my job that I share on the air because it doesn't impact what we do here. But in addition to hosting the show for 2 hours, I am the program director for the whole station. Everything runs through me. So I do this show for 2 hours with everybody. Then I go back to the job I do before and after the show, which is being the program director and making sure everything runs on time and runs smoothly and everything runs well. So to answer the question for Brian, do we need to have a chat with the program director? You do. You talk to him every day.
You already did.
You hang out with me for 2 hours every day. Now, I don't know if we'll add a third hour. That decision does fall into my lap. I'm the one that's allowed to make that decision.
Brian says I need an hour on Monday to recap the hot dog eating contest.
I guarantee that makes it into buy or sell at some point, either this week or on Monday. And I guarantee that before we mentioned it here, Brian, it was going to get in there. You were going to sneak it in at some point.
Yeah.
You were thinking about it.
Of course I was.
Because the GOAT is returning.
He's back.
He's back.
Like, see, people don't get this. This is like Tom Brady coming out of retirement. I'm trying to give you an example of something you can't miss. Like, okay, give you an example. Mike Tyson fought, who was it, Jake Paul?
It was Jake Paul, yeah.
Yeah, he fought Jake Paul. And listen, I'm not taking the opportunity to not bet on Mike Tyson. Like, I'm not going to. I get to watch one Tyson fight in my life. I'm betting on Mike Tyson. In his return, this is what it is.
Well, the other thing, too, is with Joey Chestnut, somebody won last year, and everybody said, not the real champion. Like,
immediately there's an asterisk.
Like the championships during COVID, the bubble championships, all carry an asterisk next to them. None compare to the big asterisks that is next to the hot dog eating contest championship where Joey Chestnut was not involved. This is not a real champion. You did not beat the GOAT in his prime. Didn't happen. Not the real not my real hot dog eating contest champion. So now
it's complete BS.
So now he returns. He's back. And he will attempt to, I guess, reclaim his championship.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never lost, but
I don't think he's ever lost.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like he didn't lose his crown.
No. If anything, he stepped away.
Right.
And I can't remember why he stepped away. It was some kind of vegetarian ad he was a part of.
He took a sponsorship with another hot dog company. So Nathan said, you're not allowed to participate. And then their ratings were down, and everyone's like, oh, what a shock. You get rid of the big draw for the hot dog eating contest, and your ratings go in the toilet.
Everybody just wants to see if Joey can eat 85 dogs.
We all know why we're here, Nathans, okay? Just do us a solid. Let him take all the sponsorship dollars he wants. Just want to see the man eat hot dogs on the 4th of July. Please and thank you. Appreciate it. Big ratings draw here on the lunch break to open up hour number 2 talking about the hot dog eating contest and Joey Chestnut. Perhaps we get back to regularly scheduled programming, if that's okay with everybody. I have a Bradley Beal take I'd like to share with everybody, if that's okay. Unless we want to continue talking about Joey Chestnut and the hot dog eating contest that will take place in a couple of days. We touched on this a little bit in hour number 1 of the show. Suns being relatively quiet right now in free agency. And that's somewhat by design. It's forced upon the Suns because I just don't know if anyone knows this. The Phoenix Suns are a second apron tax team. So they don't have a lot of tools available to them. I don't know if anyone's told you this, but the Phoenix Suns are in the second apron. I just want to make sure everybody knows this. And because of that, they can't do a whole lot. They don't have a lot of room to maneuver. Well, one of the ways they can get out they can get out from underneath this is to get under that second apron and by moving Bradley Beal. That's the big ticket item. That would dramatically move them down the apron threshold. But in order to do that, they have to trade him. In order to do that, they have to waive and stretch him. And they can't waive and stretch him because the NBA has rules against how much of a percentage of your cap you can waive and stretch. And that number is 15%. And they are, if they were to waive and stretch Bradley Beal over the next 5 years, it would be $22 million over the next 5 seasons. And he takes up about 14% of their cap. The problem is they have 2 other players that they did this with. And so if you add their money in with Bradley Beal's money, it takes the Suns over that 15% mark. So waiving and stretching him to save the cap space, the $30 million that you would save, and you would just stretch it over 5 years instead of 2, is not possible. So then that leads us to the trade possibility, because that's the only other way, unless he's going to agree to a buyout, and that buyout amount is going to give the Suns what they need to waive and stretch him or to just buy him out and get under the apron, which I don't know if there's a real legitimate reason for Bradley Beal to play ball here. That's his money. He signed the contract. The Wizards agreed to it. The Suns agreed to take it on. He's entitled to every penny of that contract. Whatever you think of Bradley Beal, If you think it was a mistake for the Suns to have him, if you think it was a mistake for the Suns to trade for him, if you think he's a bad guy for not waiving his no-trade clause, if you think he's a bad guy for not wanting to leave Phoenix, he is entitled to every single penny of that contract. He is entitled to tell Phoenix, because of his no-trade clause and because of the size of that contract, no, I am not going to take a buyout. No, I am not going to give you a discount to waive and stretch my contract. No, I am not getting traded to that team in whatever city because they're not a place, one, I want to live, or two, they're not competitive enough. He has earned that right with the way that his contract is structured. So the Suns have to figure out a way to either present an option to Bradley Beal in the form of a trade that he can be on board with, that the other team wants to take Bradley Beal, and it's a place that he wants to go. Now, you can choose the nuclear path and go scorched earth and try to make life difficult for Bradley Beal. Tell him you're not going to play him. Tell him he's just going to sit around for a couple of years. Tell him you're not going to buy him out. You're not going to waive and stretch him. He's just going to sit for 2 seasons. And you're going to pay him every dollar that you owe him because you got to pay him that money regardless. And you're going to keep him away from the team, and you're just going to take 2 years of his basketball career away. 2 years where he could be someplace else winning a championship. I mean, you can threaten to go to that extreme. Now, I'm sure the moment you do that, you're getting the NBA Players Association involved. There's going to be a grievance filed, and that's going to be a battle. And I don't know if the Suns want that type of PR, but that is one thing that they can do here to force Bradley Beal. And if you recall during the season, there was a thought out there that the reason why the Suns put Bradley Beal on the bench when they did was to poke the hornet's nest a little bit, to see if that made Bradley Beal angry enough to where he would accept a trade anywhere. And they poked the bear. They put him on the bench. Nothing came of it. And then he was back to being in the starting lineup. He was back to being a regular member of this rotation. They didn't trade him at the deadline because he wouldn't waive his no-trade clause. He wouldn't do any of that. And yet here we are, potentially this team going down that same rabbit hole again.
I know this sounds crazy, but I've heard a rumor he just loves Phoenix.
No,
he just loves living here.
I don't think it's a rumor. I think he legitimately enjoys living here. He enjoys the school system. He has a couple of young kids. And, you know, when he had the no-trade clause in Washington, he waived it to come to Phoenix. So he had the no-trade clause before ever stepping foot off a plane at Sky Harbor in Phoenix. He waived it to come here. And so if he's going to waive it again, it has to be the right situation. But does he want to pack up his family, a young family who has grown to love it here? I don't think that's a rumor. I think that's the truth. I think he actually likes it here. Now, he may not like playing for the basketball team. He may not enjoy not having a chance to win a championship, but he does enjoy it here. That matters. Sometimes you'll take a job in a different city, even though it's the same job that you're doing in your current city, because you like that city better. I grew up in New York. I do sports talk radio in Phoenix. Why? I like it here a lot more. The weather a lot nicer here than it is there. I'm closer to a lot more things here than I was there. It's a little crowded there, not as crowded here. I could do that job there. I could do that job anywhere. I do it here because I like it here. That matters. I hate to be that simple, but sometimes we forget about those things when we talk about sports and contracts and players signing places in free agency and trading and getting traded to certain places. Maybe it's why Kevin Durant didn't want to go to Minnesota and play in the cold. This stuff matters. This stuff is important. And so if he does not want to waive his no-trade clause, now apparently, depending on who you ask, there are some teams that may potentially be interested in Bradley Beal. Next year, he does become an expiring contract. That might make it more attractive next year. They cannot waive and stretch him. It's mathematically impossible without him giving back some of his money. And I'm sorry, this doesn't make him greedy, but as an athlete, you agreed to this contract, Washington in this case. Phoenix agreed to take the contract on. You're paying me every single dollar. I'm not going to do you a solid unless you can tell me why it would benefit me. Now, perhaps they sell Bradley Beal a story of, hey, give us back this much. You're going to make the mid-level exemption. It's going to make up for it. You're going to be made completely whole. Not a problem. And if they can do that and there's a team that's interested, maybe Bradley Beal will do that. If it's a place, a situation where he wants to go. I'll just believe it when I see it. We constantly get back to this place where we talk about Bradley Beal and his future. And we talk about them moving him and buying him out, waving and stretching, trading, all the different ways that they can move on from Bradley Beal. And day after day after day comes and goes. And Bradley Beal is still a member of the Phoenix Suns. Now, I'm on record. Bradley Beal is not going to be on the opening day roster. Whether that's because they buy him out, whether that's because they waive and stretch him, they trade him, or he's just not around, he is going to be off of this roster. He has to be. Has to be. Cannot play. All the players they added, logjam at the position. The situation of wanting to turn the page, starting a new chapter, you can't really do that until you get rid of the pieces of the old chapter. And the two pieces from the old chapter that you want to move on from, Kevin Durant, you've done that. Bradley Beal, that's the next step. Then you can get into the Jordan Ott, Brian Gregory era of Phoenix Suns basketball. And so you don't want Bradley Beal hanging around. I don't know if this is an apples to apples comparison, but this is like the kid that goes to college and then he comes back and he still's got friends in high school and he's hanging out at the high school parties. You got to move on, dude. The Phoenix Suns have to move on.
That's the guy saying, like, you're going to love college. It's awesome.
The Phoenix Suns are the college kid going back to the high school parties if they hold on to Bradley Beal. You haven't actually moved on to the college. You haven't moved from the high school era of your life to the college era of your life. I knew people like this. I knew people who went to college, still came back, went to those high school parties, still had those high school friends. I looked at them differently. I looked at them and I said, you haven't matured. You haven't grown up. You haven't moved on. You haven't decided to live the college part of your life. You're still stuck in what you think are the good old days. If the Phoenix Suns want to move on and enter that next chapter, that next phase, they've got to move on. Stop going to the high school parties. Go to the college parties. Be a college kid. Don't be stuck in high school. Move on from Bradley Beal, however it needs to be done. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us here today on the program. You can also join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. I believe I've opened up a can of worms here because anytime somebody's upset about something over there, they just say, check with the program director. So I feel like I've opened a bit of a... See, this is what happens. You're going to get the jokes about being hung up on, and I'll get the program director jokes. That's what'll happen. That's what'll happen. So there you go. You've got your thing. I've got my thing now for everybody, our P1s, to get on me about. So you can join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream if you want to join in on the fun. When we come back, he was one of the heroes last night. Is he the Diamondbacks' best trade chip? That's next, the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. If you or anyone in your family has been injured in a car accident, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before, protecting America. Fighting for you, Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
9 Inch Nails. Live at Footprint Center, September 16th. Get tickets now at NIN.com. 9 Inch Nails, live in Phoenix. Peel It Back World Tour 2025.
Summer Playfest has arrived at Harris Auction Casino. This summer, win your share of $600,000 in prizes with Caesars Rewards. Plus, join us as live bands light up the stage all season long. Then stay and play for less with our buy one, get one half off hotel rates. So stay, play, and get rewarded all summer during Summer Playfest. Only at Harris Auction Casino. Play for all. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 or 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Visit the Caesars Rewards Center for details.
Hi, I'm Andrew the Home Buyer. Selling your house right now the traditional way isn't so easy. The average home is taking months to sell. Fortunately, I can help. I'll come to your home and give you a cash offer within minutes. Then we can close in under 5 days. And I'll make sure you get as much money for your house as possible. Call me, Andrew the Home Buyer, today, and let's get your home sold. Visit AndrewTheHomebuyer.com. That's AndrewTheHomebuyer.com.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. For years, the Steelers operated with the discipline of a small market franchise. They drafted well, developed in-house talent, and rarely swung big in free agency. That strategy gave them consistency, respectable win totals, playoff appearances, and a culture of stability. But in the last decade, it's also defined their ceiling. That ceiling just got smashed. This offseason, Pittsburgh ditched the blueprint, went all in, signed Aaron Rodgers, traded for DK Metcalf, handed him a massive contract, and then just added three-time All-Pro corner Jalen Ramsey and Pro Bowl tight end Jonnu Smith. Those are blockbuster moves, risk-laced, headline-grabbing transactions you would expect from maybe the Rams or the Cowboys. Steelers, uncharted territory. It's a franchise finally admitting that being in the mix isn't enough. It might not work. Rodgers is 40. Ramsey's health is a concern. Pittsburgh is pushing their chips all in. And for Steeler fans, it might be worth the exciting risk of all of it. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it really easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and the best selection of Bridgestone tires. Go to TireRack.com/Dan, see their Bridgestone test results, tire ratings, and reviews, and check out the special offers. It's TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Dick's epic 4th of July sale is on. Get summer ready with 25% off select Stanley drinkware. Get 20% off Igloo coolers and water bottles and select bog bags. Buy one, get one 50% off DSG coolers, canopies, chairs, and water bottles. $200 off Callaway AI smoke irons and TaylorMade QI10 drivers. These deals won't last. Stock up for summer now, in-store or online at Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for detail.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Welcome back into the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you. Hope you're all having a great Tuesday afternoon. Now, during the morning meeting, sometimes we can sidebar into trivia. We can get a little distracted, throwing some trivia questions back and forth to one another.
That happens every day.
Yeah, I was trying to be generous to us, but yeah, we get distracted on a pretty much everyday basis with some trivia. I've got a trivia question.
Okay.
For you, since I know the answer, but it's going to directly lead into the conversation that I want to have. Do you know who has had the most home runs since July 1st of last year?
I do know this one.
You saw this stat.
I just know who it is.
Okay.
It's Eugenio Suarez.
So it's not Eugenio Suarez.
Is it Judge?
He's on this list. Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani are tied.
I should have guessed that.
For the most home runs since July 1st of last year with 57. You want to guess who's second on the list with 53 home runs?
Eugenio Suarez.
Our American League MVP.
Cal Raleigh.
Eugenio Suarez has hit 50 home runs.
He's third on this list. Kyle Schwarber's hit 46. Brent Rooker and Juan Soto have both hit 41. Corbin Carroll has hit 40, rounding out this list that I see
Nobody
in front
ever
of me.
talks about Brent Rooker. Solid player.
Well, I mean, he plays on the A's.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
They don't even have a city. It's easy to get lost when you don't have a city. You play in a place. You play in a city in Sacramento, and you're not allowed to call yourself the Sacramento A's, and you're going to play there for the next, 3 seasons.
I heard they broke ground in Vegas.
They did do that, yes. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when there's a stadium. That's going to be, if they pull this off, it is going to be a crazy atmosphere.
It's going to be awesome.
I think it's going to work. I really do.
I think once you have them in Vegas, you need a team in Nashville.
Yes, you could put a team in Portland. You could put a team in Salt Lake's trying to get a bunch of sports teams.
They are. I just think, does Nashville not feel like an awesome time for a baseball team?
Feels like a party.
Yeah.
And it appears as though Tampa is going to be sold and stay within Tampa in the St. Pete area. So
Yeah.
Montreal.
Have you ever been to the Trop?
I have been to the Trop, yes.
Your thoughts?
It's okay.
I thought the food was great.
Yeah, it's not a great ballpark.
No, it's not great.
It's not the worst ballpark I've been
to.
It
is not.
Do you want to know the worst ballpark I've been to? Do you want to try to guess the worst ballpark that I've been to?
I know what it is. It's Yankee Stadium.
No, I have not been to New Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
I've never been to New Yankee Stadium, but I would not say that. No. There's going to be a lot of people that are bothered by this answer. But in terms of the enjoyment of the seat, the enjoyment of the amenities, the enjoyment of the atmosphere.
I know exactly where you're going.
Wrigley Field is horrendous.
I thought you were going to go with Fenway.
Same principle applies because both of those ballparks have been around for 500 years. And for 500 years, they've been playing baseball there, and it is not designed for the way we consume baseball in 2025. It is not designed for who we are as people in 2025. So, that being said, we brought up this list, and Eugenio Suarez is on this list, and he hit another home run last night, and wanted me to pose the question, is he the best trade chip that the Arizona Diamondbacks have? Is he the player that they could make available at the deadline? Think of all of the players that we've talked about over the last couple of days, weeks, in discussing the Diamondbacks at the trade deadline. They've got Josh Naylor, who's right now a little banged up, but they expect him to be back and healthy before the trade deadline. We've talked about Suarez. We mentioned Gurriel yesterday. We talked about the pitchers, Merrill Kelly. We talked about Zach Gallen. We talked about Shelby Miller. Out of all of the players that are potentially going to be available, we don't know if they're actually going to be sellers just yet, but potentially going to be available, is Eugenio Suarez the player that would bring back the most for the Diamondbacks? Is he the crown jewel that they have available to themselves at the trade deadline? With each passing home run, with each extra base hit, I look at a third baseman who can hit for that kind of power, can play that kind of defense, this is a guy who can be a middle of the order bat for a playoff contender. And I don't know if there's going to be any player that the Diamondbacks potentially move that would get as much as a free agent at the end of the year, power hitting third baseman who plays great defense, checks all the boxes, can slot in any spot of the order that you want him to slot into, and is going to be able to bring power to your team.
Yeah, looking at it, it has to be him or Merrill Kelly on the biggest returns. And I think it really will come down to almost not the player, but where's the market at? Are more pitchers available? Are we going to see more power bats available? Looking at this deadline, you have to assess what are other teams selling. I think there's more pitchers available. I think Eugenio Suarez is going to be the best and most reliable power bat available at the trade deadline. And that's going to cause a pretty penny. And we're not counting Rafael Devers because that doesn't.
No, that trade already happened, and we weren't expecting that to occur, right? That one came out of nowhere. I look at this, and I'm pulling up because Jeff Passan did this the other day on ESPN, MLB's top 50 trade deadline candidates. And I'm looking at the hitters that he has listed, right? And so he did this top 50. And number one was Alex Bregman for the Red Sox. But he put the chances of Bregman being traded as, like, I think 10% on the story. And then he had Jarren Duran, the Boston outfielder, at number 2. And then he had a couple of pitchers. He had Sandy Alcantara, and then he had Freddie Peralta. And then he had Eugenio Suarez as the 5th overall player and the 3rd overall bat. Is there a world where the Diamondbacks have, because maybe they don't trade Bregman, maybe they don't trade Duran, they don't make those guys available. Is there a world where the Arizona Diamondbacks have the best bat available at the trade deadline?
Yeah.
There's a very real chance that they have the best overall bat at the deadline. And if they choose to be a seller, if they choose to go down that path, and we all think that is a path they need to explore, and it is a path that they should go down. I know they won last night. Look at the way they won. Look at their bullpen, one pitch, almost giving it away again. It's not sustainable. They are not going to be able to play well enough to work themselves back into this mix. Because while, yes, Corbin Carroll is going to get healthy, while, yes, Josh Naylor is going to return to this lineup, where are the bullpen reinforcements coming from? That is still going to constantly be a problem for this team. So if they choose to go down this path, as they should, they could have the best bat available. And if you have the best bat available, guess what? You get to set your price. You get to set the price. It doesn't matter if another bat goes earlier. If your bat is better, you can say, we need more than that. If a bat goes that's a little worse than Suarez, but gets a haul, you can get better than that. It's a great place to be, to have potentially the best bat available at the trade deadline. That is the world. That is the world that the Diamondbacks could live in with Eugenio Suarez. They had Eugenio Suarez as the 5th best player available. They had 4 Diamondbacks in the top 10 of their top 50 trade deadline candidates. They had Gallen at 7, Kelly at 8, Naylor at 9. You could have a couple of the best starting pitchers available. You could have 2 of the best bats available. You could be in a position to dictate everything. It is why Mike Hazen said last week, the Sharks are circling in the water, because there is talent here. There is talent that playoff teams are drooling over. Talent that playoff teams are salivating at the idea of getting into their team, adding a Merrill Kelly to their rotation, thinking that they have the answer to Zach Gallen's struggles. And so they'll take a chance on a 2-month rental of Zach Gallen. Teams that need power from their corner infielders, either first base or third base, or they need a powered DH option. And so Suarez and Naylor are perfect fits. Those are players that other teams are going to covet. But I think more so than any of them, it is 34-year-old Eugenio Suarez, who is still playing great defense, maybe not the defense he was playing a couple of years ago, but still playing great defense, hitting .257, tied for 4th in home runs, tied for 2nd in RBIs, and has an .894 OPS. There are teams that are going to be drooling over that idea. Now, before we go to break, I knew when I said it out loud, this was the pitchforks may be coming out, because Brian heard what I had to say about Wrigley Field and he wants to weigh in. Now, I don't know if he is agreeing or disagreeing. So maybe the pitchforks aren't out. Maybe he's in agreement. Brian, you have thoughts on my Wrigley take. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got to slow things down here and back up the bus. I spent 25 years in Chicagoland. I'm just 3 years here in the Valley. But when you threw out Wrigley Field, of all possible stadiums, as your worst experience, I about drove off the road. It's a shrine. It's a landmark. It only holds 40,000 people. There's no bad seat in the place. The bleachers are right on top of the action. The neighborhood is tons of bars, great things to do. You don't even need to go to the game. You can just go down to Wrigleyville. And somehow Wrigley Field tops your list of the worst place. I got to hear the reasoning behind that.
Okay, so there's some of that, Brian, that I actually agree with, that you're not wrong about, okay? I agree that the history of what Wrigley Field is part of the mystique. I will give you that. But if you remove that, if you take that away, that is not a modern 2025 ballpark. It's not. You say there's not a bad seat in the house. There are seats that are directly behind the poles that are holding up the upper deck that you can't see behind them. Everything, you're packed in like sardines. Now, I will tell you, I have not been to all 30 parks. I have not been to everything. So of the ones that I have been to, that is up there. Now, I will tell you, a close number 2 is the team across town, the other Chicago team. I did not like that ballpark either. So the whole state of Illinois is going to have to work on some things. But no, I am not backing off this take. I did a cross-country road trip my senior year of college. Started on the East Coast, drove my car all the way out here my senior year of college with my dad. We stopped in Pittsburgh, PNC. That is number 1, the best stadium I've ever been to.
It's not even close. That stadium is gorgeous.
Gorgeous, beautiful, amazing, awesome. Then we stopped in Cleveland. I thought it was good, fine. Didn't blow me away, but I had a good time. Then we went to, trying to remember the order here. Then we went to both Chicagos, I think. Trying to remember how the map of the United States works. I think we went to both Chicagos. Then we went to St. Louis. I thought St. Louis was okay. Busch Stadium, I kind of built it up in my mind to be something more. It ended up not being that. Went to Busch Stadium. Then we drove to Coors Field. Really enjoyed Coors. And then we drove down here and saw a game at Chase Field. And I have been to Chase Field before. Petco Park out in San Diego I've been to.
Never been to Petco. Everybody says that's one you got to get to.
Beautiful.
The Phillies are out there in 2 weeks. On a weekend.
So you're
I've been thinking about
Friday
it.
edition of the show, just going to be me talking to myself.
No, I'll just drive out there right after the show ends on Friday.
It's only a 5-hour drive. You could get there by the time first pitch starts.
Yeah, or just stay Friday night, go to the Saturday game. Yeah, I don't know the next time I'm going to see the beach. Maybe I go see the beach. I
was just out in San Diego, Oceanside over the weekend. Last weekend, first thing we did, went to the beach.
Sounds like a great time.
The weather was beautiful. It was fantastic. But no, so yes, I agree. Wrigleyville, everything around Wrigley Field, it being in the middle of a neighborhood, that's cool. I like that. The history, what the building represents, I agree with you. But you can't have a building that just rests on that alone. You have to be modern. You have to be an enjoyable atmosphere. And I did not enjoy the atmosphere in Wrigley Field. Oh, I went to Kansas City as well. Saw a Royals game.
Heard that's nice.
It's okay.
Okay.
Not a huge fan. It's just okay.
You didn't like the fountains?
No. Did not like the fountains. 480-864-1060 is the phone number for you to join us, or you can join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream where John says Wrigley sucked to sit in during the 80s. That's what I'm talking about, John. Thanks for having my back. It has not been a good time to sit in Wrigley Field since I've been alive. Now, Brian wanted a third hour of the program. Does he still want the third hour? Because this is the type of stuff
we also had Michael call in who wants the third hour, and he wanted to speak to you about it.
So everybody wants the third hour. We'll consider it. I can't make any promises. We'll consider the third hour. It is something that behind the scenes I have thought about. But we'll consider it. That's all I'll tell everybody. We will at least consider it. And if we make any news about that, everybody on this program will be the first to know. I don't know if a third hour is in the cards, but we will at least put it on. I have a whiteboard in my office of ideas and things we're working on. I'll add it to the list if we consider adding a third hour to the program. Everybody wants that. That's what everybody wants.
I think we need a certain amount of subscribers. We should do like the old YouTube trick.
Okay, you want to bribe everybody.
Yeah.
If they want the third hour, they got to get the YouTube numbers up. That's fair. If the P1s want a third hour, you got to spread the word about the show. We got to get more people in here so we have a reason to have the third hour. So there's more banter, there's more back and forth, there's more phone calls, there's more stuff in the chat. If you make that happen, if you hold up your end of the bargain, the third hour may be coming sooner rather than later. How about that? That's the deal I'll make with the listeners. You do your end of the bargain, I'll do my end of the bargain.
I love it.
When we come back, feels like we haven't talked about football in 6 months. There is one burning question surrounding the Arizona Cardinals. We'll try to answer it next. It's the lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends. celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Celebrate Independence Day with your hometown professional soccer club. Phoenix Rising takes on Lexington SC on Friday, July 4th at 7:30 p.m. in a special military appreciation match. A night to honor those who serve and turn up the heat on the pitch. Fans will receive limited edition Phoenix Rising sunglasses at the gate. And don't miss the debut of the club's Americana merchandise line, including a patriotic training top. Plus, enjoy $1 beers all match long, perfect for a summer night under the lights. Tickets start at just $15. Grab yours now at phxrisingfc.com.
Bryan Adams, Roll with the Punches Tour 2025. A night full of hits, live at PHX Arena, Saturday, November 15th. With special guest Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
Hi, I'm Brian, your friend and jeweler here at Shane Company. Come on in, feel at home, and let's find your dream engagement ring. I'm proud to work for a company that puts customers first and lets them shop the way they want to. See, we believe shopping for an engagement ring should be fun without any of the pressure. We don't work on commission, so finding your dream ring is truly on your terms. We'll be right by your side as your friend and jeweler to help you find a ring more beautiful than you imagined and stick to your budget too. We have all of the styles and all of the smiles. You can even watch our in-house jewelers working their magic inside your neighborhood store. It's that kind of care and craftsmanship that makes Shane Company's free lifetime warranty the best in the business, saving you thousands over time and giving you peace of mind. No appointment necessary, or check us out at shaneco.com. Because a friend knows when you're ready, you're ready. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
DQ presents How to Make Your Summer Take Flight. Just head into DQ for a new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat. Treat your inner hero to an epic mix of sugar cookie dough, sprinkles, and cake batter flavor. Blend it all with legendary DQ soft serve, and it's enough to tempt Superman himself. Fly into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat before it's gone. And don't miss Superman, only in theaters July 11th. DQ, happy tastes good. Only at participating locations.
Global Credit Union, how can I help you?
It's one of those voice prompts.
Representative! Good morning. How can I help?
Wait, is this a real person?
It's 2 a.m.
We're here to help members 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Impossible.
At Global, possible. Learn more at globalcu.org. Global Credit Union, your world of financial possibilities.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind.
Oh my.
Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Welcome back into the lunch break. You're on KDUS AM 1060. You can listen for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Diamondbacks when they take on the Kansas City Royals. Friday, July 4th at Chase Field. Just got to listen on the KDUS AM 1060 app or stream us on KDUS1060.com. Celebrate the red, white, and blue at Chase Field at the Fireworks Spectacular following the games on July 3rd and July 4th presented by Bar S. We've got your chance to win 4 tickets for listening here on KDUS AM 1060, or you can get your tickets over at dbacks.com/SGT. One burning question. That's the subject of a story in The Athletic following off-season workouts, OTAs for all of these teams. The story titled One Lingering Question for All 32 NFL teams as the league's summer break begins. And as we mention all the time, this is the best part of the Arizona Cardinals being at the top of the alphabet, is you don't have to scroll far to find their lingering question. And their lingering question is one that we are all still trying to solve. Doug Holler picked this question. Did they do enough to improve offensively? Doug Holler talked about all the improvements they made on defense and then said the following, quote, the offense, however, looks similar to last season's when Arizona ranked 11th in yardage per game and 12th in scoring. A veteran receiver to go alongside Marvin Harrison Jr. would have helped. The offensive line also needed attention, end quote. We touched on this a little bit during buy or sell, but the Cardinals made a bet this offseason. They made a bet that Kyler Murray, at least right now, is the answer at quarterback. They made a bet that their offensive line, healthier, another year in this system, going to be able to protect Kyler Murray. James Conner, Trey Benson, enough in the running back room. Trey McBride, Tip Ryman, good enough in the tight end room. Their wide receiver room. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to make that year two jump. This group is good enough. They just need more time in the system. Marvin Harrison Jr. entering year two? Trey McBride just signed his big contract extension. He's at the end of year 3. A little more time in the system, a little more time understanding the nuances, a little more being put on their plate, the offensive playbook expanding a little bit now that there is a better understanding for everybody involved. The Cardinals are making a bet that they are better off with their current group improving, flourishing under the idea of continuity than they are in bringing in outside talent. That is the bet. That is the burning question, the lingering question that hovers around the Arizona Cardinals. All of us look at everything this team did this offseason, and we know defensively they are improved. We know defensively they addressed the areas of concern. On offense, they didn't necessarily address the areas of concern. They didn't address my concern of a veteran wide receiver too. They didn't address my concern about getting a starting caliber right guard. They didn't address those concerns. They're betting that the roster that they have, their player development, they are betting on their ability to get the most out of their current roster. They are doubling down on the draft picks that they made, the players that they have already invested in. Monty and JG are saying this roster is good enough right now. We just need to get more out of this group. We don't need outside additions. We don't need outside talent. We have enough talent here. We just have to maximize it. I hope they're right. I hope that bet is correct. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical of there being enough talent in the wide receiver room. I'm skeptical of them being able to withstand any injuries to their offensive line. I'm a little skeptical of that as well. And I know we're all skeptical of the guy under center. It's a bold bet. So far, a lot of the bold bets this organization has made under Monty and JG have paid off, so they deserve the benefit of the doubt. But there will be a period of I told you so if we get to the middle of the season and we're talking about a team needing another wide receiver option. If we're talking about a team that isn't getting it done up front with their offensive line. There will be an I told you so. Because these warning signs were there this offseason. They were there at the end of last year, and nothing was done about that. Why? Because this team believes in the group that they have. I hope they're right. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join us. A little bit of a shorter segment there because we went over taking phone calls about Wrigley Field and the best and worst baseball stadiums. When you put together a 2-hour show, you just never know where things may go.
It's been an interesting day here on the lunch break. I feel like we've been all over the place.
We have
a lot of fun today.
Listen, this is what we try to do. We try to have fun. We try not to take ourselves too seriously, okay? I know we're talking about sports. I know we try to be an authority on sports. We try to have informed opinions and informed takes and try to entertain. But we also try to just have a little fun. We try not to take ourselves too seriously. And when we have the opportunity to do that, we certainly do that. You're supposed to be better prepared. Well, sometimes you don't need to be better prepared past me. Sometimes you just need to go with the flow, okay? Sometimes you just need to let the show happen to you. And today we let the show happen to us because this isn't just our show. producer Evan and I. It's your show as well. 480-864-1060, the phone number. When we come back, the leftovers, all the stories we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. We'll get to next. The lunch break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Hey, listeners, it's Vince D'Alicio with the Varsity Sports Show. Just wanted to give you a heads up that we won't be on this Saturday, but join us for a special Independence Day video podcast set to air this Friday, July 4th. I'll be coming to you from the Carefree Veterans Memorial in Carefree, Arizona, along with Town of Carefree Mayor John Crane. Look for stories from veterans that our summer broadcast team will bring you from all over the country. It's the Varsity Sports Show Independence Day special coming on Friday to YouTube, and tell Alexa, play Varsity Sports Show podcast.
Hosier presents the Unreal Unearthed Tour 2025, live in Phoenix. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, October 7th. With special guest, Amble. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The #1 album, Unreal Unearthed, is available everywhere. For more, visit hosier.com.
Every summer, across the valley, hundreds of our homeless neighbors die because of the heat. This is tragic, and it is preventable. None of us can stop the heat, but together we can save lives. With incredible partners like you, Phoenix Rescue Mission is able to provide life-saving water and critical care to our neighbors in need. Join us this summer and make a difference. Learn more at phoenixrescuemission.org/code red.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at all Fry's food stores and all Walgreens.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Welcome back. Lunch break, KDUS AM 1060. Wrapping up today's edition of the show. It's time for the leftovers, all the stories we didn't get to throughout the course of the program. They are brought to us by the producer of the show, producer Evan. Now, unfortunately, producer Evan, I would like to start with something.
Schmammered.
I have a leftover story for you because there's been a lot of talk on the program today, and we're taking it under advisement, of the show moving to a 3-hour format. Now, if we did this, it would not be for a little bit. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that would need to occur. If we start the show earlier, can we be the lunch break?
Wow.
That's a huge.
Are we the brunch break?
That's a huge problem. I love the branding of the show. It took me forever to dial in what the name of the show was going to be. And then when we finalized lunch break, I was like, that's it. That's the ticket. If we start earlier, what do we do?
I think you're still a lunch break.
Lunch at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, but at school, like when you're at school, you had lunch at 10 o'clock.
I know, but that's not the demographic of the people listening to this program. I mean, John is not enjoying his lunch at 10:15 on a Tuesday.
Yeah, but we're still going till 1.
We would in that world we would.
It's just not the middle.
No, again, the second and third hours of the program, if we went to 3 hours, would be during your lunch break, right? At 10 o'clock hour, we would be stretching the idea of a lunch break.
What if we just call the first hour waiting for lunch, and then we call the second 2 hours the lunch break?
So now we have like totally separate branding and logos that I have to work on. I want to limit the amount of change that we create for people.
Or we just call it When's Lunch.
We could do that. That's certainly possible. There's just something to consider as we take this under advisement. Okay, what do you got in the leftovers?
Okay, I'll start with one of your favorite stories of the day. Today, happy Bobby Bonilla Day for as a Mets fan. That's a big day. I also want to tell you, as a baseball fan, it's an underrated contract, actually.
It is. This day has become one of my favorite days of the year because everybody learns about contract deferrals and all the other players that have contract deferrals. And I do want to just tell a quick story. By deferring that money for Bobby Bonilla, the Mets were able to acquire Mike Hampton, the pitcher, who then went to Colorado. And by going to Colorado, the Mets got a compensatory draft pick
that ended up being David Wright.
So you know what?
I was just about to say that.
Pay Bobby Bonilla all you want. Pay him forever.
I was just about to say that.
Worked out.
You ended up getting David Wright because of that deal and the way it worked out, which is impressive, but it is funny that he's going to get. And by the way, what he's making on Bobby Bonilla Day is chump change to the Mets.
Well, again, the reason why Bobby Bonilla Day in particular became sort of a baseball meme was because the Mets were paying him during a time where, as their owners were not willing to invest into the club because they were part of the reason was that they were spending this money on players who were no longer playing for them. And he's not the only player that they're paying well past their playing days with the New York Mets. Now, with the new owner there, Steve Cohen, it's sort of become just a joke day. And Cohen, when he first bought the team, even made a comment of, should we make it a thing where we do an on-the-field ceremony and we have a big check that we give to Bobby? Like, that's an owner who understood the fans' frustration and anger about this and said, we're going to make fun of this because this isn't going to stop us in the future. So it kind of became a meme, the Bobby Bonilla Day, but there's a bunch of players now who have deferrals in their contract all the time.
I was going to say, it's not nearly as bad. I can't remember if it was like 2 years ago where Ken Griffey Jr. was the third highest paid player on the Reds.
No, I think it was last year. Ken Griffey Jr. was the highest paid player on the Reds.
Yeah. That's way worse.
By the way, John says that he starts at 6 a.m., so sometimes he eats at 10 o'clock. So sometimes, but is that still considered lunch or is that breakfast? John,
it's brunch.
But hold on, John, is that your second meal of the day? When you are eating at 10 o'clock, is that your second meal of the day or is it your first meal of the day?
Do you have a meal before you come in the morning?
Sometimes. Depends on how rushed I am in the morning.
Yeah, I don't eat before I come in.
Oh, no, because we hit the
bodega.
So we have a little shop here in the building that is just a self-serve. It's got sodas and chips and all sorts of stuff, and we refer to it as the bodega because it's just a very tiny little shop that you go in and you get stuff. We hit that at least once a day.
Yeah. But that's typically what I'm getting for breakfast.
Yeah, that's normally the first time I eat. Oh, Speaking of that, I forgot I have snacks in my backpack. My lunch is going to be good.
Nice. That's a good memory, right?
I forgot. I stopped and got breakfast this morning, and I forgot that I put snacks in my backpack. Boy, is the post-show meeting going to be a good time.
After Bobby Bonilla Day, the biggest news of the day, Darren Waller was traded from the Giants to the Dolphins.
My guy unretires and solves the Dolphins' tight end problem after they traded Jonnu Smith. So he
solves is a stretch.
He's coming out of retirement. And that's what the Dolphins think is the solution to their tight end problem. They looked at the rest of the league. They looked at any other tight end they could call about, and they said, you know who solves our problem? A retired tight end. Darren Waller.
Darren Waller, feel for him because as soon as him and Kelsey Plum broke up, he retired. Like, he retired from a broken heart.
Well, he wasn't good in New York.
Yeah.
That never worked out. It just never lived up to him and Kenny Golladay in New York. Both of those were just bad moves by the team. One was a free agent signing in Golladay, and then the other, Darren Waller, that was two different regimes, two different GMs trying to solve the pass catching issue for the Giants, and they were never able to do it. Neither of those guys. And so now he's going to go to Miami, and hopefully he can be an answer there for them. because they traded Jonnu Smith. I do think it's a risky roll of the dice to get somebody to come out of retirement. I mean, this is a guy that walked away from football. Now, he didn't walk away from football a half decade ago. He didn't walk away from football 8 years ago, and you're bringing him out of retirement. This wouldn't be like somebody calling up Larry Fitzgerald right now to see if he wanted to play football. But it is somebody who stepped away from the game and has been out of it. It takes time to catch up to the speed of the game again. So it's a bit of a risky thing.
And a pretty advanced offense.
Yes. To me, the biggest story of the day is the Bucs waiving and stretching Damian Lillard.
I was going to get, that was our next one. So the Bucs with a crazy day, Damian Lillard waved and stretched, and then they brought in Miles Turner.
What does Giannis think about all this? That's what I care about. What does Giannis think about all of this? Because if him and Dame are close, if he's annoyed by this, Giannis,
he's out.
Giannis could be on the move. And the NBA chaos has only just begun. That's going to do it for us here, Tuesday edition of the program. Jim Rome is coming up next. Producer Evan, thank you for all that you do. Appreciate all of you for listening, joining us, calling us, chatting with us. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya!
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX